at some point actually click record. There we go. There's the old record button. And I was kind of half expecting you to eventually press play on something, but you never did.
Yep, I was trying to find something that fits that music, but I couldn't.
Because you're a loser. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. My name is Garlic, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Josh. Say hi to the folks, Josh.
Hi, folks.
There's the wave. Only I get to appreciate that and no one else, because we're in person and you're not. You can always reach out to us via email, hiddenoaksoverdose@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us via Facebook, facebook.com/hoodpod, or you can just search Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix on Facebook. You'll find us eventually that way. Yeah, I would like to mention that our segment times are listed in the description below. So if you want to skip around the pod, feel free to listen to our various sections in various orders or not listen to the full 60 to 90 minutes we throw out every week. And I told myself, I know, Josh, we've done 90 minutes before.
Gross.
I know. And I told myself I was going to do this every week, and I don't think I've done it since like week 1 or 2 or whatever our first couple podcasts were. I'd always like to thank our lovely artist or illustrationist, whatever the proper title would be, Mr. Levi Oki. He's the one who made the beautiful logo that you're seeing right now. You can find him on Instagram at Levi Oki Illustration, all one word. So, yeah, thank you, Levi. Or Caramel Bear, as you are more popularly known.
Thanks, Carmel.
Yeah. So, Josh, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. A little rough on the roads today with the snow, eh?
I called and told you, didn't I?
I mean, I was on the road as you called and told me. It's not like it was breaking news or nothing, but...
I tried to salt it, but we only have one salt shaker. So,
yeah?
Yeah. It
I'm
was
sure.
little tough to get out to the main highway. We kept getting honked at.
Yeah, I suppose. I was going to say yours is probably 3/4 empty since last time Bradley was here, so...
Oh, yeah. No, we...
He had one beer and he hit the road, but...
Yeah, he used half a salt shaker. Took a quarter for the road.
Classic Bradley.
Yeah, we have to lock up our driveway salt whenever he shows up.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he just starts munching it, throws it on his burgers, what have you. What a salty kid. Josh, what do you got going on in your world? Any non-football news in the Mitchell household or with Josh Mitchell personally? Anything like that going on?
Not really. I did see a meme today that I thought was pretty relevant, and
this should be good.
I mean, it's a non-football meme, so it's gonna be good. But it said that even the Grinch has a dog. So if you don't have a dog, just realize what that makes you. That makes you more pathetic than the Grinch. And by pathetic, I mean angry and hated. Garlic, do you have a dog?
No.
I have 2. Do you want one? We'll give you Kaya.
Absolutely not. No, your dogs are lovely in doses, but...
Doses of a minute or less?
Yeah, I mean, if I had a dog, I'm sure I'd get used to it eventually, but the Ranch never had a dog. He never wanted a dog, so I've just grown up without a pet, and I'm 24 now, so maybe eventually I'll have a dog or a cat or something. But
start small. Get a goldfish.
I've had
Name
fish.
it dog, because then it's an easy transition.
Yeah, I've got a pet dog, yeah. He swims around in this bowl that I never clean and I never feed him, but he's still there.
Yeah, he's floating on the surface right now.
So nothing else crazy going on in your world, Josh?
No, I hear you got arrested.
Not quite. So I work downtown Minneapolis. If no one was aware, today, I don't know if it was a prison, a jail, some sort of custody, someone broke away. Some prisoner broke out of wherever they were being held. I believe it was a local jail. And downtown Minneapolis was freaking out for a good hour. Probably much longer than that. Kaya, I fucking hate you today. So right as I was getting to work, cops were everywhere. Like, I ride public transportation, so it wasn't terrible, but there were cops everywhere. This dude, so we broke out of downtown Minneapolis right by US Bank Stadium, if you're familiar with the area. And he ended up in Little Canada, if you're familiar with where that is.
Yeah.
Are you?
Kinda.
No. So it's in St. Paul. The dude traveled over 12 miles, I assume on foot. I don't know how he did it. I don't even remember his name. I think his name was like Oscar or something. But
12 miles. And have the Vikings considered signing him for running back?
I don't know, Josh. But yeah, so that was an interesting spice to my morning. Other than that, not too much going on in the garlic household. It was a good Thanksgiving. It was a good turkey bowl, but we talked about that last week. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't talk about the results of the turkey bowl.
All right, Josh, you want to talk about the results of the turkey bowl real quick?
Well, my team won, so there's that.
I mean, every single game?
Wow, every single game that we tried.
Well, all right, there you go.
We won the main 3 because we usually play 3 games, and then the winners, like whoever has the best record after that, if somebody has a 3-0 record, they're usually declared the winner, and then we switch teams up. And so my team won that 3-0.
I didn't see anything on Facebook declaring you a winner in any fashion, so.
You'll never see that. My parents don't even say that.
Josh, I'm going to need you to look forward when you're talking because you keep doing this.
That's because I'm trying to find out why Kai is digging at the concrete wall.
She was just sniffing it. You're making shit up.
Watch her.
Because you got cocaine in there, buddy.
No.
There's a kilo of Colombian Bam Bam.
All right, we should move on. Yeah. Thoughts. That's a nice creative segment title you added there.
You like that?
Thoughts.
You like that? I was just going to say for the turkey bowl, for everyone's reference, I was 6 receptions for 8 targets, approximately 40 yards, 0 for 1 passing, ladies, 0%, and 1 batted pass. So just saying.
So what you're saying is you're MVP.
Basically.
Nobody else has any stats, so.
True. I mean, my stats aren't official. I just roughly kept them in my head, but.
No,
I'd say I'm a stud. But yeah, thoughts. All right, so this is we kind of did this last week with our Eric Landvik. What am I trying to say? Our Eric Landvik segment, because he had posed us a question on the Book of Face, and we were posed another topic this week by our lovely Mr. Eric Kestris.
Equestrian.
Nope. But so here's the idea to discuss. Here's the comment verbatim. Topic, idea to discuss, different kind of league ethics. For example, what would you guys think about tanking if you're in a playoff spot? If you have a playoff spot locked and you want to keep someone out of the playoffs, etc. You had this discussion a while ago, blah, blah, blah. So what do you think about that, Josh? What about fantasy ethics?
I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. But I guess if to draft order, like in Dynasty, I'm not a big fan of. I don't like tanking in Dynasty because that's one thing. But in redraft leagues, I know one of our leagues we have a lottery, and if you win the toilet bowl, you get extra lottery tickets or lottery balls put in the machine. So there's some incentive to keep trying even after you're eliminated, which is why I'm going to keep trying because I'm eliminated from playoffs. Not technically, but technically yes. And so really. This question, I think, comes up every single year. And my only thought to it is if you're locked in and, if you have an opportunity to move up a seed, maybe get a bye week or something, why not go for that? If you don't have that option and you lose on purpose to keep someone out of the playoffs or to get someone else in the playoffs, what happens when you lose to that team in the playoffs? Do you just kick yourself repeatedly until next season?
So, but to you at that point, it's not an ethical issue. They can do that if they've already earned that spot. Is that how I read that or no?
I mean, as long as there's like no money exchanging hands or anything weird like that, then I have no issue with it. I'd much rather see them try. I think it's bogus. I'd probably complain about it a little bit. But
especially
as long
if
as
you're on the receiving end,
we have a rule that you have to set a full lineup and you have to do all that in our league. So if you don't have a full lineup set and you're doing this and it's clear that you're trying to get someone else in or you're trying to benefit someone else, like trading away a backup running back for a starting quarterback that's been killing it all year, something like that, then I would say that that's unethical. But I would say it's a gray area. I don't know. I don't know the answer that Eric was trying to get out of us. But in some it's up to that person. I would never do it. I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I agree mostly. Obviously, the general topic itself was just ethics, and then he gave the example of keeping someone out of the playoffs. So I wrote down two different bullets here just in case we didn't come up with any ideas. So the first one was to keep someone else out. And to me, in my mind, obviously, that's a great tanking at all or trying to manipulate the game in a way other than just trying to win. Obviously, is a gray area in itself, like you said. But I think if you've already earned that playoff spot and you're trying to be strategic with it, I don't give a shit if you lose a game.
And and that's why we have these side bets this year, was to kind of involve a little bit more participation throughout the league every single week to have some incentive to earn money. So this week it's closest margin of victory, so that is some incentive for people in week 13 to actually try to win, despite if they're eliminated from the playoffs, they still have an opportunity to win money. Most teams that are eliminated from playoffs won't have that option unless they're a weird league that has tons of side pots, which we do.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've got one for. I mean, I guess the winner of the consolation bracket wins $20. That'd be the only one, and then anyone who has the most points against, but that's the regular season,
right?
And they can't control that. So yeah, and then obviously for a higher draft pick, I would say that's usually classless, but I think it happens pretty rampantly, and I don't know if it happens on purpose or unintentionally in the deflate these balls league. But there's like 3 or 4 guys that like don't set a lineup or don't fill their lineup every week.
Yeah, and it's like I would understand more so for last year compared to this year, because with Saquon coming out and all the studs, but I haven't heard anything about the rookies coming out, and then again I haven't necessarily looked either.
I haven't heard because I haven't been listening.
But last year there was the obvious 1, 2, 3 kind of guys, and then quite a few studs in between. Thanks for squeaking that ball out.
Odin, cut that out.
But yeah, I mean, as far as doing that, they can go ahead and do that if they want, but I agree in Dynasty leagues it's a little bit, I would incentivize against it. I don't know. I'm
gonna kill your dogs tonight for whatever reason.
Please don't.
Really angsty about them. The only other thing I can add is obviously we're talking about its gray area and tanking is not great, but obviously there's an exception to every rule. Like for example, I was going to bring up our lovely fellow league member, Mr. Kevin Brown. We handed him an absolutely dumpster fire of a team, and if he didn't get the first overall draft pick next year, it would be a shame. So I would not be offended anyway if that man would have tanked or like never set a lineup for the year. I mean, obviously, I guess maybe in the first couple weeks he can try and see if he'll get a win out there. But if his team is constantly doing garbage, then just tank. Guarantee yourself that first round draft pick or that first overall pick. Because I mean, you took over a garbage team with better intentions than that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought it was a great question because it's definitely something that comes up at this time of year. I mean, I'm against it. I'm never going to try it. And for an example, this week in the deflate these balls, I'm eliminated from playoffs, but my matchup has a lot of implications to where if I win, the person I'm playing is most likely eliminated from playoffs. Whoever wins another matchup.
No.
So there's like a 3 matchup. There's 3 different matchups this week in this league that if I win kind of sets the ball moving, but if I lose, nothing really happens. So I'm still trying. I'm not going to try and tank because nobody wants to see Walters in the playoffs. So
you said deflate these balls, and then you mentioned Victoria's Secret.
I meant Victoria's Secret. Okay. Yeah. And so that's going to be me trying. I mean, I'm not going to. I put in a bid on the waiver wire this week just because why not? I'm not going to give up just because I'm out of the playoffs. I'd still like to try just because that is the league with the lottery and stuff. So I'd like to win the side bet.
Sure. No, that's understandable. Yeah. I can't really think of any other too many other ethical dilemmas other than maybe collusion, like not putting in for a draft pick or not putting in for a weekly waiver wire. Fuck off, Kaya. God. But yeah. Yeah. So any other thoughts on ethics before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So the next segment is supposed to be NFL news, but I don't suppose you want to do that.
Nope.
All right.
Leonard Fournette punched a guy. He's out next week.
That is correct. All right. So that's our NFL news segment. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk about Week 12 in the NFL, Josh. You want to
Nothing happened. Locks and upsets.
Josh.
Nothing happened, Gar.
Did everyone just take the week off?
Everyone took the week off.
Don't want to talk about the Packers game?
Packers didn't play. The second half.
Josh, let's hear about that Packers game.
Packers lost, Vikings won, game over. It's all right. I predicted them to lose this game anyways.
Win.
Beginning of the season. It's on the sheet.
Oh, okay. Like that prediction. I thought you meant like last week you were coming in saying the Pack were going to lose.
Yeah, no, I mean, no. I had fully hoped that they'd win, obviously. And after they got off to a 14-14 start, I thought, oh, they have a chance. But then good old Mike McCarthy and his halftime adjustments. Really, the only thing adjusts is his belt, getting ready for the post-game buffet. But that's really all that happened. They stopped giving Aaron Jones the ball. They stopped. I mean, I don't know. I used to be kind of someone in his corner, ready to support him and give him a chance. But now
McCarthy?
Yeah, now I'm all for getting rid of Mike McCarthy and bringing someone like Leslie Frazier. Get rid of Mike McCarthy. Fire McCarthy.
You think so, huh?
Yep, I actually saw a very funny sign of a Packers fan who must have been dating or going to the Broncos game for some reason. And he had a sign that said, "Fire Mike McCarthy, ... Oh wait, wrong game. Fire Vance Joseph." So it's that season. I will say this right now, and I know that this is kind of getting ahead of myself, but with the and so we can combine preview week 13 with this, but I feel that if Green Bay loses to Arizona this week, they are 7.5, 8-point favorites right now. If they lose to Arizona, McCarthy's gone on Monday.
Think so, huh?
If they win against Arizona, Mike McCarthy's gone on Black Monday, which is the Monday after the season.
Yeah, end of the season. Yeah, that's probably fair. Any other Packers thoughts before I start talking the Vikings perspective, or no?
I think Rodgers is injured and is hiding it from some people because he has been off this season.
By some people, you mean the entire NFL?
Well, no, because I think he cuddles with Chris Collinsworth once or twice a week, just based on how Chris Collinsworth talks about him. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. That's what their relationship is like. I think Joe Buck doesn't watch the game. He watches Troy Aikman. So
very possible.
But yeah, so nothing really. It was a disappointing game. I know I actually turned it off after the muffed punt that Tremont had. I was watching it. I had hope, even though they were down 10 at that point. I turned it off. Once I saw that happen, I stood up, looked at the remote, sighed deeply, turned it off, and did the Josh face, which is, the thumb and forefinger to the nose. And I just kind of shook my head, got into bed, and laid down, stared at the ceiling like, why do I do this to myself?
Yeah. Yeah, I will agree with you. Aaron Rodgers did look a little bit off. He looked like Kirk Cousins in weeks past. His passes were just a little off. And again, it's a team game. Could have been the receivers were running wrong. Could have been he was under pressure. He just had to get the ball out. Couldn't be a multitude of things. But I agree. Aaron Rodgers did look a little off. Kirk Cousins. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, he's looked off a couple times this season, and I think a lot of it has to do with, and people are giving him a hard time, and rightfully so. He's supposed to be the best quarterback ever, and he's not playing like it. I'll admit it. But he's people are forgetting his number 2 and number 3 wide receiver are out. He just lost his tight end that he's been building rapport with, because Jimmy Graham had a couple good games before getting hurt. And so he's really only got Devontae Adams to throw to that he knows and trusts. And so, he's starting to build some rapport with the rookies, but it's not going to be instantaneous because there's a lot of timing with the routes. And honestly, watching Thielen and Cousins in games past, it's evident that sometimes when Cousins is on, he'll throw the ball's out of his hand and halfway to Thielen before Thielen even makes his cut to the outside or comes back to the ball, and the ball's there. So it's that timing that's important, and I don't think the rookies on the Packers are understanding that as much.
Sure. So yep, I don't want to let this segment go too long, but I think Cousins look good. Obviously, I'm not sold. One good game does not sell me. He's had good games. He's had bad games this year. So, yeah, he looked good. Dalvin Cook obviously looked good. Defense was playing well. Special teams was all right. I think pretty much everyone was saying it's a good team win. I think I agree with that sentiment. We were able to get into Rodgers' grill. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, or I know I've said it in person. I don't know if I've said it in the podcast, but obviously Rodgers this year has seemed a lot more human, just from the fact that he's kind of struggled under pressure, whereas in the past he would, just dance around and be like, "Fuck you, guy coming and trying to sack me. Let me just throw a Hail Mary over your head or do this, that, or the other thing." But he's definitely looked a little more human this year.
I think that week 1 injury kind of got to him. Last year's collarbone, things like that. He knows he's not, he's not impervious to pain, and he's not invulnerable, and
right.
And so he's definitely been more human, but he's still, I would say he's still a top notch. I mean, he's thrown 1 interception this year. He's not.
No, absolutely.
He's not Bortlesing it or Jameis Winston it. He's still Aaron Rodgers as far as accuracy goes. He's thrown the ball.
Is he Aaron Rodgers as far as accuracy goes? We were just talking about how he looked off.
He's looked off, but he's still smart with the ball. They said he's thrown the ball away like 40 plus times this season.
Sure.
And that was through week 12. And last season he threw the ball away less than that total number. And it's just he has no protection. Bakhtiari hurt both of his knees last game.
Yeah, Bakhtiari pulled himself out of the game.
Yep, and like they were saying on the broadcast, he's the best left tackle in the game at this point. I have no problem saying that, and I don't think anybody, even Vikings fans would disagree. He's allowed the least amount of sacks in the NFL as far as I know, the last couple of years. And I don't know a lot, so I guess take that with a grain of salt.
I was going to say I could not name.
You don't know all the left tackles in the league,
I could not name the Vikings left tackle.
But going back to what, and I know we said we weren't going to spend too much time on this, but going back to what you said about Cousins having good games and bad games, I would say Cousins' play up to this point, because he's had good games, like really good fantasy-wise and overall game management games. He's had really good games, I'll admit that. But then he's had really bad games.
He's been very
and so he's
erratic.
Kind of the best way to describe him, I feel, is kind of like that first fart after having the flu, having the diarrhea.
God,
it's like you're very nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. We'll get into that, I guess. We'll see how he does this week against New England.
Yeah.
Hi, Kaya.
Yeah, I have no other thoughts. I think we'll talk next week in a second here. But yep, Vikings win, Packers lose, suck it. Any other notable games? You watch any other football this week? Obviously, Thanksgiving was a big day. Chase Daniel won over the Lions.
Hey, can you get me another beer?
Colt McCoy did not win. Phillip Rivers just put it on the table, son, and let him see it.
Yeah, no,
that was exciting to watch.
That was a fun stat line to watch. I didn't get the game. I didn't watch that game, but I did get to see his passes go from 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, all the way up to 25. So That was fun. Melvin Gordon got hurt. That sucks.
Yep. Yeah, so nothing else to too much to talk about there. Let's just move on to locks and upsets. We are currently at 22:30.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be a long one, Josh. We had a lot to talk about. So preview week 13. Who the Pack play this week, Josh?
I thought we were doing locks upsets.
Oh, fuck. Yep. I'm a drunk. Yeah, locks and upsets, Josh. How'd your teams do last week?
Well, I got Baltimore versus Oakland as my lock. That worked out. Thank you, Lamar Jackson. Thank you, Gus Edwards. My upset was Detroit and Chicago. That did not work out.
Sure didn't. I personally had New England over I was going to say New Jersey because that's what it looks like, but I had New England over the Jets, and New England won, of course. For whatever reason, I was really high on Colt McCoy last week. Colt McCoy did not win, so my upset pick was no good.
Colt McCoy didn't even draft himself in fantasy that week.
I'm sure he did. Yeah, who do you got this week, Josh?
My lock is Green Bay at Arizona.
Okay, that's
figured I have to do that as kind of a makeup.
Yeah, I think when I looked at it, they were like 9.5 point favorites, so that's a game you don't want to lose. But then again, the Vikings lost to Buffalo, so who do you got for the upset?
My upset is the Chargers at Pittsburgh.
You think so?
I think so. I think Rivers is going to come off that high. He's going to put all 14 of his kids down to sleep, and then he's going to go out and kick some Pittsburgh ass. I feel like last week Ben got rattled. I mean, they had a chance to win it. He threw that pick in the end zone that was ugly. They were also playing, I think, the worst defense in the NFL, the Bengals.
I just noticed the Vikings aren't on our little thing here. We'll talk about that later, you monster.
Do you know where they are?
I see. They're fifth place in the AFC South.
Yeah, they got traded.
Okay. Sorry. But yeah, so you think I mean that's a fair upset pick. I think the Chargers can be good. The only question mark is in my head is when the Chargers lost to Denver just 2 weeks ago at this point. But
Yep.
so for me, my lock, I'm taking Denver over Cincy, mainly taking advantage of the fact that Andy Dalton is gone. So I think that's a pretty safe lock pick. I also think Denver's looks pretty good the last couple weeks. They upset both the Chargers, like I just mentioned, and Pittsburgh last week. So I think Denver just maybe might starting to run here. They might make a playoff push. So that'd be exciting. And then my upset pick, I have 2 listed there just because I waffled all day about it. But I will officially lock in Buffalo over Miami as my upset pick just because Josh Allen kind of excites me when I watch him play. He kind of passes my personal eye test, kind of that truthiness I talk about. He's an X factor. So
How'd that work out for Farrah Cooper?
You know what, Josh? You want to go through and analyze all the different people we said were going to be great this year?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But so yeah, I'll officially lock in Buffalo over Miami. And yeah, we have a couple celebrity shots this week. We got Eric taking Chicago over the Giants.
Eric Landvik, right?
Eric Landvik, yes. Eric Landvik, lock is the Bears over the Giants. And then his upset is going to be Cleveland over Houston, which was my other potential upset pick. I think it's a good one. For whatever reason, the Browns have been flying high after Hugh Jackson got out of the building. And then we have a newcomer to locks and upsets. Josh, you want to take this one since it's your wife?
My wife, Nikita, lock pick, Seattle over San Fran. I actually like that lock pick.
That's a safe one, I think.
I think that's a pretty safe lock. Her upset, though, is a little... she has bigger balls than us.
It's a very questionable
but
upset. But it would be an upset. It would
definitely.
I would award her 10 points for that upset pick.
She has picked Detroit to beat the Rams. The Rams coming off the bye. Detroit coming off of embarrassment.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That is bull. But I will generally award your wife 11 points or 10 points if she gets that upset right. I don't know how you feel about that in the leaderboard.
We'll award her 1 less than the total number that I have,
which is currently 11, so 10.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's all we got. Josh still leads on the leaderboard by half a game.
Whoop.
I've been really solid on my locks all year, except for a couple weeks, and you've had some upsets that have brought you in there, but you've also had some weeks where you've had 0. So that's that. Now let's preview the week 13. Currently at 26:45. All right, Josh. Who did the Pack play this week? We've already talked about it a handful of times.
We talked about it's Packers, Arizona at home. It should be a win, like you said. Like you checked, and they're like 9.5 point favorites. They should win by more than that.
You would hope.
My prediction for right now though is like they'll come out hot. They've started hot in games. Defense will do something well. Halftime will come around. Aaron Jones will touch the ball 4 times in the second half. Jamal Williams will come out and fall forward for 4 yards 3 times in a row on first down. And then Rodgers will throw a pass that's his wide receiver has no idea is coming or something silly. For some reason Josh Rosen's on the other side of the ball, so I think the Packers are still going to win, but I feel like it's not going to be one of those good wins. It's going to be one of those, dear Lord, thank you, Mason Crosby, for making 6 field goals.
I have a mouthful of sandwich, so...
Yeah, I'll talk about the Vikings. The Vikings pay New England. I'm a Vikings fan. We're the best.
Is that what I sound like?
No.
So I'm trying to strategically place myself so your dog will fucking leave me alone, but she just refuses. Yeah, Vikings play New England. I think it's easy to chalk that up as a loss, especially because I'm 95% sure the game is in New England. So it is because we go coast to coast. So obviously you're playing Brady and Belichick. Anything's possible. The Lions beat the Patriots earlier this year, but they're in midseason form. You don't know which Kirk's going to show up. You don't know which defense is going to show up. So
Garden.
I'm 97% sure the Vikings lose this game, which is fair in my mind.
Josh Gordon
is garbage. Let me finish that sentence for you.
Thank you. Any other notable games you're interested in?
I had it pulled up.
I think anytime the Saints, Chiefs, or Rams play, I'm interested this season.
Saints play Thursday night?
Sure do.
Why today? Why? So Saints...
Usually at class.
It's true. So the Saints play Dallas on Thursday night. That should be a fun one. We get to watch Lamar Jackson try and beat the Falcons. That should be exciting. The Broncos, again, I think have an easy win this week against the Bengals. Who knows? But with Bengals losing their starting quarterback is usually not great. Rams, Lions should not be very exciting. Packers, Cardinals should not be exciting. Bills, Dolphins could be exciting if you're into a good game. Obviously not great teams, but
Houston, Cleveland.
Yeah, Houston, Cleveland I'm really excited for, actually.
And then I'm actually excited for the Seattle and San Fran division game.
That should be a good one. And anytime the Chargers play, I'm a pretty big Chargers fan if I haven't made that clear yet. So hopefully they can upset the Steelers, even though the Chargers currently have a better record. So that's pretty much all we got. And then Monday night. I don't usually watch Monday Night Football, but a divisional matchup is always good. Eagles, Redskins. So that's what we got for Week 13 other notable games. Now, Josh, I want to take just a moment to rant for...
Yeah, okay, well, the Vikings are terrible.
That is a fair sentiment. But no, sincerely want to take a moment. So, Josh, obviously we were watching the Sunday night game together. You saw the stat probably about 50 times. I saw 50 times where if the Vikings beat the Packers that night, we have a 73% chance of making the playoffs. You read that, right? Or you saw that?
Yep.
Where do you think that comes from? Like that stat or that, what is that based on or who? I don't know.
I don't know because they showed the same stat where they're like, if Mike McCarthy went for it on 4th and 2, they have this amount of chance of winning, this amount of chance. They make numbers up. I'm fairly certain.
They do that a lot on Sunday Night Football. They're trying to be cooler and I don't want to say edgier this year, but they're making up some stats. And I have a problem as a Vikings fan. I have a problem with this stat because 73%. We have a 73% chance of making the playoffs when we get our 6th win of the season. So here's the rest of the Viking schedule. New England, that's a loss probably. Or most definitely. Seattle, where we play on the East Coast the week prior. Seattle, that's probably a loss. They're looking hot right now. Miami, that's at home. Hopefully we can beat Ryan Tannehill. Crazier things have happened. So that puts us to 7, 6, and 1. And then we hopefully could beat Detroit. So that's 8, 6, and 1. But then our final game's against Chicago, who just romped us 2 weeks ago. So our final record, by my prediction, is 8, 7, and 1. Is that a playoff team? Is that a wild card team? 8, 7, and 1?
Not really. That's a 500 team kind of. If you kind of
essentially, yeah, 8.5 technically based on.
And when you got in the NFC, you have teams like the Panthers.
Yep, Panthers and Seahawks are always looking for the wild card, or at least in recent history.
Yep. I mean, Panthers, Saints, Rams, Seahawks, those 4 teams, those are going to be playoff teams, I feel.
Panthers are sliding right now, but they definitely could be, yep.
Yep.
That would be a wild card, though, because obviously the Saints are winning that division, and then Seattle would have to be the other wild card in that scenario, because obviously the Rams are taking the West.
Right. And so it would be tough. It would be tough for them to get in there at 8, 7, and 1. But, you know, I think the year the Packers won the Super Bowl, they were, well, I guess 10 and 6 is still 2 more wins.
A game and a half, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be tough, but it's not impossible. The Packers made the playoffs with an 8, 7, and 1 record, I believe, when Rodgers broke his collarbone the first time.
Sure.
But they won the division because the division was garbage.
Right. So we're definitely not. I shouldn't say definitely. I'm 85% sure we don't win the division unless the Bears start sliding terribly. So I just had a problem with that 73% stat. I didn't think it was very realistic. I think it was a garbage stat. And I wanted to rant about it just for a moment. I don't know where it came from, what it's based on, but unless we're projected to upset a bunch of teams, which doesn't make sense, I think that's a bogus stat. And I think the Vikings missed the playoffs, like I've held all year. Yeah. So, Josh, do you want to rant about the Vikings or the Packers for a second, since I took that time for myself?
Well, no, I mean, it'll be interesting because I'm looking at the Packers schedule now, and so they have home against the Cardinals. You'd hope they'd win that game. Home against the Falcons, with how they've been playing, you'd hope they'd win that game. So that brings them up to 6, 6, and 1. They're at the Bears, which is always a good matchup. If we'll say they lose that one, that's 6, 7, and 1. Then they're at the Jets. That you'd hope is a win. And then they're home against the Lions. And so that should be a win too. So you're looking at the same exact record between those 2 teams. And I don't think either of them deserve to be in the playoffs.
Right. So yeah, we'll see how things shake out, but I wanted to rant for a moment. General fantasy. Yeah.
Oh,
Josh.
whoa, read it right.
General fantasy. I don't recognize your name.
Generalistic fantasy.
Nope. Not hashtag.
Where
not my
dreams
hashtag,
come true.
Hashtag not my segment name. Yeah. Top performers for the week. I do have this pulled up this week.
Wow.
I know it. I had it pulled up 85% of the way. There we go. So obviously Deshaun Watson had a great week last week, as well as Kirk Cousins looked really good on Sunday night. Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, the fourth best quarterback fantasy-wise of the week, and then Baker Mayfield rounds it out at number 5. So that's a good weeks for all those guys. You would not expect to see Josh Allen in that list, and usually not Dak. I'm guessing he had some ground yardage there. Christian McCaffrey was the best overall running back. Again, this is in a full PPR league, so keep that in mind. But if I'm reading this right, it says Christian McCaffrey had 47 fantasy points. Jesus.
100 receiving, 100 rushing yards, couple touchdowns.
Oof.
I think he had 11 receptions.
He did. I'm reading it right now. He did have 11 receptions. So Christian McCaffrey blows everyone else out of the water. Saquon Barkley is in second at 13 fewer points. He had 33 last week. Nick Chubb at third with 27.8. Kenyon Drake had 26. And then Austin Eckler, 26.3. He was the fifth overall. Leonard Fournette was next at sixth. I'll just mention him because he got suspended, but he's still able to put up 26 points in the first half, which I think is pretty impressive.
Helped me lose the game I needed to win for the playoffs in Victoria's Secret.
Heck yeah, brother. So yeah, wide receivers. This is not a name we expected to see earlier this year. Amari Cooper, the number one receiver of the week, 38 fantasy points in full PPR. That's 8 receptions, 180 yards. 2 touchdowns. Juju Smith-Schuster was second by with just a tenth less at 37.9. Adam Thielen had 8 receptions for 125 and a touchdown with 26.5. Julio Jones, 23.8 points. And then Corey Davis, 23.5 points. Certainly some names you would not... Out of all these names, the only name you'd expect to see in the top 5 at this point in the year would probably be a Julio, maybe a Juju. Certainly not those other guys. Tight ends, Zach Ertz, Eric Ebron, David Njoku, Vernon Davis, and the Gronk is back. He got himself a touchdown. So welcome back, Gronk. And yeah, we don't usually talk about defenses or kickers, but I know the Ravens defense had 2 touchdowns this week, so that's pretty impressive. And, notable mention on the kickers, Chris Boswell threw a touchdown. So good for you, buddy. Way to get in the game through the air. That's the Pittsburgh kicker for anyone that doesn't care, which is probably all of you. Yeah. Grain of salt, Josh. Let's hear your fantasy record since it's way better than mine.
For the third week in a row, I went 4-3, bringing my total record up to 53-31. I already looked at yours, so I'm just waiting for you to brag about your week.
No, I mean, I don't want to brag too much about it. Obviously, I mentioned last week I was on the bubble on a bunch of leagues. I won in 3. If I was on the bubble in 4, I won in 3 of them. I did not win every game this week. I went 7-1. I sent you multiple pictures of it. I lost the one game I lost by a tenth, by 0.1. So that was depressing as hell. Almost had the perfect week. Did you have a 7-0 week this year? I think you did, yeah. So we've both been able to put up 7 wins in a week, but I still didn't have a perfect week. Yeah, even I won, and so in 2 of my leagues, I'm going to need some help to make the playoffs. I'm on the bubble in 2 leagues, and obviously we're shoo-ins in the BSB league. But in my 2 most expensive leagues, if I win and I get a little bit of help, I'll make the playoffs, so that'll be nice for some cash returns. Otherwise, it's going to be a big fantasy loss for me financially this year.
Yeah, I'm eliminated in one of my or 2 of my leagues. I know, both of them have to do with Coon Rapids kids cheating. Victoria's Secret and Deflate These Balls, eliminated in both those. Victoria's Secret, like I said, I lost by 2 points last week. I lost by 0.2 of a point the week before, and then 4 weeks ago I lost by 1/10 of a point. So I've had a very bad string of losses in the last 4 weeks. So I'm guaranteeing to lose by 1/10 of a point this week. It's just going to happen. Good luck, Walters.
Yeah. I wanted to mention I am now, with my 7-1 week, I'm now officially 48-48 in my fantasy season. So I'm even. So this last week will determine whether I go positive or negative. And you're like positive 20 games. So
wow,
you're pretty good. But I went even this week, so that was nice to have a sweep there. All right, studs and duds, Josh.
Last week I had Marlon Mack as my stud. He was projected 15.3. He got 11.6. I believe he left early with a concussion, so
What a stud.
we'll factor in a bonus 20 points there. So he technically scored 31.6, making him a stud.
Yeah, look at that.
My dud was AP, who ended up being a big dud. He was projected 13.5. He got 6.4.
Yeah, not great. My stud last week was one Mr. Theo Riddick. He was projected 11.8. He only got 13. And then my stud was Adam Thielen, and he was not a dud. He was projected 21.3, and he got 26. So I technically went positive with one point there on Theo Riddick, but Thielen lost me 5. Lost 4 points on the week. That's not great. But my overall stud-dud performance is currently positive 18. Which is good enough for second, although Nikita's nipping on my heels, and she's only participated 2 weeks that have counted so far. So, yeah.
Yeah. Eric's, his stud last week was Julio, got him 2.5 points. Julio got 23.8. He was projected 21.3. Dion Lewis was his dud, he was a dud as well. He was projected 13.4, ended up scoring 11.1 for a 2.3 difference. He's positive 26 on the year.
Yep. And then your wife went the opposite route of mine. She picked Thielen as her stud, so that's a 5-point gain there based on his projection. And then she said the whole Packers team was going to be a dud. I personally took it upon myself to interpret that as the Packers D. They're projected 4.8. They ended up with -1, so that netted your wife a nice almost 6 points there. So her overall score is 14 right now. Eric's is 26.7, by the way. So when we mention his studs and duds in a moment, listen to him probably because he's done better than all of us so far this year.
Yeah. My stud this week is Treat Cohen.
Nice, I like it.
Projected 12.7. My dud is Kirk Cousins at New England, 19.1.
Yeah,
he's only scored more than 19 4 or 5 times this year, so
that's fair.
But it will be a high passing game, I'm guessing, because they can't run the ball to save their lives. Nikita has to go, or not Nikita. Well, maybe she does, but Kaya has to go poop, so I'm going to take her outside.
Okie dokie. So my stud this week is one Mr. Justin Jackson. And if you're asking yourself, who the hell is Justin Jackson? Well, he entered the season the third string running back for the San Diego Chargers. He is now the second string, obviously, with Melvin Gordon being out. I think this guy will get some passing down backs. Obviously, someone has to assume the Austin Eckler role that he was just filling. Austin Eckler can't do everything all the time, so I think Justin Jackson will definitely way outperform his 5.8 projection. And my dud this week, Patrick Mahomes. I don't remember off the top of my head who they're playing. I think it's like Oakland or something, though. So whoever it is, they're playing a bad team. I know that's why I picked him. Mahomes just does not need to be Mahomes this week. I'm sure they'll be able to keep the rock on the ground. Maybe he'll throw 1 touchdown or maybe he'll run for a touchdown, but this dude will not need to be in the game long. I think Kareem Hunt will mainly pound the rock, or even Tyreek Hill can come out of the backfield on some jet sweeps or this, that, or the other thing. So that's my dud, is Patrick Mahomes, currently projected 24.3. And yeah. Oh, I clicked on the wrong page. So this week, I mentioned just a moment ago, Eric's is currently our best stud and done picker. So listen to this. He's got Aaron Jones as his stud. Aaron Jones in full PPR is currently projected 18.4. And obviously they're playing the Cardinals, so hopefully Aaron Jones should be able to run all over this team. They've been bad pretty much all year. So Aaron Jones, I think, is a safe stud pick. Obviously, he's got a higher projection, almost 20 points, but a couple touchdowns, he'll be able to easily surpass that. And then his dud this week is one Mr. George Kittle. That's the tight end for San Francisco. He's currently projected 13.7 in full PPR, and Eric's has him as a dud, so obviously he's not feeling him. I believe they play Seattle, so for whatever reason, he doesn't think Kittle's going to be bringing down that many catches. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe that's a reason he picked Kittle as his dud. But otherwise, that's who he's got. Eric's has been the best this year, so listen to those. Aaron Jones, stud. George Kittle, dud. And then Nikita also submitted studs and duds of the kindness of her heart. She picked the exact same stuff as last week. So she picked Adam Thielen as her stud, who's currently projected 21.9 points in full PPR fantasy. So hopefully he should surpass that. I know the New England defenses like to take away your favorite weapon. I'm not sure who they think that is for us. I don't know if they're going to consider that Thielen or a Diggs. So we'll have to see. Obviously, we would hope one of those receivers for us will have success, if not both. So we'll see if they choose to blanket Thielen or Diggs all day. And then again, if you listened, her dud last week was the Packers D, so her dud this week is again the Packers defense. This week, that should be even a better pick because they're playing Arizona. Oh, no, excuse me, I meant the opposite of that. The Packers D is currently projected 9. They play a really bad Arizona team. So to say that a dud is probably not fair, but who knows? Maybe this is the week David Johnson has 300 yards from scrimmage and a couple touchdowns, and Josh Rosen doesn't need to win the game through the air. He can just be a game manager and distribute the ball that way. So we'll see. But yeah, Packers defense dud. Josh is back. Welcome back, buddy.
Hi.
I just finished up all the studs and duds. And Josh, I believe, as I understand it, you did not do an A's or B's or this or that this week?
Nope.
Well, Josh, you're in luck because I did again.
Damn it.
Because I'm picking up your slack. All right. I try and steer away from the biggest name in the league just because I like to keep it when I make it a little more interesting than that. Like obviously last week I could hit you with Colt McCoy and Dak Prescott. But we'll see how you do this week. All right. You ready for this? All right. So do you want Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield?
Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, wow, that was quick. Do you want Mark Ingram or Mark Ingram over Dallas or LaShawn McCoy over Miami? Shady, huh? Oh, by the way, last pick I took Mayfield and I also took McCoy. This one. Do you want here's running back 2, but I'm giving you a tandem. Do you want the combination of Yeldon and Carlos Hyde, or do you want the combination of Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler?
I knew who you were going with. Yeah, Justin Jackson, Austin Eckler.
Right. For your wide receiver 1, do you want Amari Cooper or Kenny Galladay?
Amari Cooper.
Ooh, I took Kenny Galladay, and for the last one, I also took the San Diego backfield. Do you want Christian, or for your wide receiver 2, do you want Christian Kirk or Cortland Sutton?
Kirk.
Ooh, I took Cortland Sutton. For your flex spots, there are 2 running backs. I could have been more creative. I wasn't. Do you want Tevin Coleman or Gus Edwards?
Assuming Gus Edwards plays.
Right, obviously.
Gus Edwards.
Okay. No, Josh, I want you to pick a guy who is for sure not going to play.
Well, he's injured.
Well, he's not. He's questionable. He's not out. And then, so we usually end up with the flex. I'm going to throw in, here's 2 garbage players. Pick between these 2
Joe Webb.
Garbage players. Do you want Keelan Cole or MVS?
MVS.
Yeah, I bet you did. I also took MVS, by the way. Oh, no, I took Cole. Excuse me. I can see that I typed that now. So that was our this or that's.
Fanboy of Cole over here.
We were pretty opposite this week. We only agreed on the San Diego backfield and Gus Edwards. Otherwise, we were the opposite on the other 5. So
I'm sorry you got 5 wrong.
Nice try, guy. But yeah, those are our this and that's. Josh, is it time for the Hidden Oaks Redraft League? Brought to you by our sponsor,
Beer.
Arnold Palmer. Quick Trip didn't have the strawberry one anymore. I don't know if this is just a weekly thing or if they're
I bought
permanently.
them all before you drove up here. I have 42 of them in the bathroom.
Son of a gun.
Matchup recap.
What do you want to? We usually start with the side bet. You want to talk about the side bet real quick?
After the side bet.
Go,
side
Josh.
bet was longest pass. So I actually had to do some research. It was not that tough because Big Ben threw a 97-yard touchdown pass to Juju Smith-Schuster.
He sure diddly did. So Jordan had Big Ben in his starting lineup. So Jordan wins the easy peasy $5 footlong for this week. And yeah, congrats, Jordan. 5 easy bucks.
We're going to talk about some matchup recaps now, right?
Oh,
Next week's side bet is closest margin of victory. So the winning team with the closest margin of victory.
Right. The name of the side bet is Coffees for Closers. If you want to. Just saying.
Coffees for closers.
And by the way, that was Jordan's first $5. In the side bets, Josh leads with 15. How suspicious. And then Nikita, me, Garrett, and Nate all have $0. So,
Yeah, well, guess where my $15 is going? Right to my wife, who has 0.
Is it?
Nope. But the results for this week, I'll talk about my matchup. I beat Nate 127.9 to 125.8. Honestly, got a lot closer than I expected because he had Corey Davis who went off. And so I thought I had it in the bag. And when I woke up in the morning and saw how close it got, I was a little bit like, ugh, yikes. But yeah, so Nate almost got me, but he also had Ingram in, and Ingram got hurt during warmups. So
Evan Ingram? Yeah. So yeah, you squeak one by there. Nikita beats Garrett. She continues to roll 133.4 to 121.3. I don't have any notes in front of me, but yeah, I know Devontae Adams had her touchdown for sure.
Yep.
That's about the only player on our team I can name. So
yeah, you beat Jamie 132.2 to Jamie's 81.1. Kerryon Johnson was hurt, Jamie, so don't know why you left him in.
it's true. Since you skipped Willie and Brad, Willie beats Brad 102.1 to 94.5. Brad continues to slide. He got the one win when I said he's going to be in the championship, and now, yeah, it's looking like he's not going to be in the playoffs. So sorry, Brad.
T beat Jordan 151.9 to 112. Jordan eliminated himself from the playoffs by not setting a lineup this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get more into that when we talk about the Stinky Tinkies.
Yep. And then Hammer destroys Derek 187.8 to 134.4. Those are the two highest scores. Derek had the third highest score of the week, but those are the two of the three highest scores of the week, and poor Derek just could not get it done. Hammer, he won the league last year. He's coming out with a vengeance. He's not going down without a fight, so we'll see how he finishes out, but Derek takes another loss.
Getting into the Stinky Tinkies, Nate would have beat me if he put Mike Williams, Frank Gore, or Corey Clement over Ingram. I understand why he didn't, but then when Ingram got hurt, he probably didn't have time to change his lineup, so that sucks. Sorry, Nate.
Ooh, yep. You're going to have to try that
That's
one more
an awkward
time.
moment.
Okay, you know? Such a better choice.
God. I think that's our first sound clip other than the one you played during the intro of the show. So.
Yep.
Another Stinky Tinky, Bradley. If you would have played 86 himself, Jordan Reed over Danny Amendola, who I believe got 0 this week.
See.
Yeah. Josh doesn't say how many points Jordan Reed would have got you, but
I didn't do that this week.
if you would have played Jordan Reed, you would have beat Willie. And that probably would have helped you secure a playoff spot, but you lost again, and you're probably out. So way to go, buddy.
Jordan, I know you don't listen, but for our listeners, Jordan started Spencer Ware, who was on a bye this week, over Kenyon Drake. And granted, I usually get upset when someone puts multiple players in a Stinky Tinky, but he started someone on a bye, and Kenyon Drake had a great week. He put up 20 plus points.
He had a good week.
And then he also started Tyrell Williams, who put up 0 over D.D. Westbrook by just setting your lineup. Set your lineup, you would have won, and you'd have had a much better chance of making the playoffs.
I mean, I can understand why you would play Tyrell Williams over D.D. Westbrook, but
I can too, and so that's where the Stinky Tinky comes in. But do you understand why?
But wait, Josh, we're only supposed to have one player in the Stinky Tinkies. Grr, 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 grr. That's what you sounded like when I did it. Yeah, cock mongrel.
Got your big yapper.
Well, I'm not gonna, because I co-host a podcast.
All right. Should we get into the standings?
Yeah, let's talk standings, big brother.
Willie, Josh, and Derek, the only 3 members of the league to solidify their playoff spots with their with the last week's outcomes. Willie sitting on top at 9-3. Josh and Derek 8-4. T 7-5 and 4th. Hammer's in 5th with 6-6. Nikita and Brad are with them at 6-6 as well. Brad just on the outside looking into the playoffs. Nate, Jordan, and Jamie 5-7. Still technically not eliminated from playoff contention. We'll get into that. And then Garlic and Garrett eliminated from playoffs. Garlic at 4-8. Garrett at 3-9. Not much more to say about that.
Yeah, it was just not our year in the redraft league or in the dynasty league. Garrett and I took a bye year. we had a sabbatical this year. So Josh, when we go into, do you want us to quick go through all the matchups and then go back to the important ones, or do you want to just break down each matchup as they come?
Break down each matchup as they come.
All right. So I know you wrote an encyclopedia for each matchup this week, but I also have the Cliff Notes version that I wrote down. If you don't want to read everything you wrote.
Oh, I can read Gar.
Because I was going to say, so you said, nope, you're going to have to try again.
Called reading. Top to bottom, left to right. Group words together as a sentence. Take Tylenol for any headaches. Might for any cramps.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
But yeah, so I mean, the only reason I mentioned that is because obviously I think you broke down every game and you mentioned technicalities. From my perspective, just to start here, you say Willie, yourself, and Derek are the only ones to lock your playoff spot. Technically, I guess that's true. I would say T and Hammer have also, for all intents and purposes, locked their playoff spot. Not on a technical level, but in my mind, T and Hammer are shoo-ins for the playoffs. And so it really comes down to this last spot between Nikita, Brad, and Nate. And it's a real.
How would you say Hammer locked it down?
Just based on his points for.
But if he loses and Brad wins, Brad's in and he's out. So it comes down to just that.
I mean, I guess technically, sure.
But you're saying he's a lock?
Wait, Brad does not have more. Wait, who plays this week? Brad doesn't play.
Brad plays Jamie.
Right.
And Hammer plays Nikita. So if Nikita wins, she's in automatically. But
Sure.
then if Brad wins, he's 7-6 and Hammer's 6-7. Last I checked, more wins is a bit better trump card than more points.
Are you sure though?
I guess you're the commissioner and you make all these stupid ass rules from the beginning of the season.
One rule.
Stupid.
And if you don't like it, Josh, you can go back to the run of the league all by yourself next year. But yeah, so in my mind, Hammer's made the playoffs. Obviously, there's stipulations where he misses. I understand that. But in my mind, it all comes down to fighting for the last spot between Nikita, Brad, and Nate. Feel free to go through your encyclopedic breakdown now, Mr. Sir.
Like you didn't do any research. I won't go through mine and Willie's because it's just seeding stuff and there's a lot of points for and points against and stuff. If I win and Derek doesn't outscore me by 15.3, I get the number 1 seed. My best finish is 1 seed. My worst finish is 4th seed. Garrett wins. Nate's eliminated from playoffs. If Nate wins, Brad and Nikita or Hammer need to lose, and Nate needs to outscore one of those two. Or needs to outscore Brad by 16 and outscore Nikita by 22. He's not going to outscore Hammer. Brad wins. He's in the playoffs. Simple as that. If Jamie wins by 100 points, she's in. If Nikita and Hammer loses, and she outscores them by 100 points. So that's not happening. Sorry, Jamie.
Thank you for mentioning all these things that won't happen, Josh. This is what I was talking about.
If T wins, he's in. If T loses, he can't be outscored by a winning Brad. By 182, Nikita by 176, but this one is possible. Hammer could outscore him by 69 points in a loss and still make it in.
Is it possible?
Nope.
Okay.
Skip over Jordan and Derek. Technically, if Jordan wins and Nate and Brad and Nikita or Hammer loses, Jordan makes the playoff, outscoring them by 70-some points. Hammer versus Nikita is the big one, though. Mention that in a text. Win and in. Whoever wins is in. If Hammer loses and Brad loses, Hammer can't be outscored by 113.5. If Nikita loses and Brad loses, Nikita can't be outscored by 6.3. If Hammer loses and Brad wins, Hammer's out.
It's true. Yeah, so like you said, the biggest matchups of the week are Jamie versus Brad, and then Hammer versus Nikita. So those will be exciting to watch. Did you want to break up the matchups themselves? Because I have, did you ever look at their rosters or who you think's going to win? Did you make any predictions?
A little bit.
Well, here, I'll talk first because you just talked a bunch. Not that the folks don't love your voice, but so Jamie versus Brad. Ooh, what'd they get into there? I don't know. Josh's dogs tore something up, but I'm not sure what it is. What is it, Josh? It's a medicine ball. Oh, so was it like the box that the medicine ball came in? Or just, no, you said it was an advertisement? Yeah, this is an exciting podcast. So Josh's dogs just destroyed something. That's not that big of a deal after all. We thought it might be, but it wasn't. But yeah, so Jamie versus Brad. Jamie is currently projected 131 to Brad's 102. Brad does have Todd Gurley on his bench, though, so that is noteworthy. That won't bring Brad's projection up by almost 30 points, that's for sure, but that'll definitely increase Brad's potential. I think Roger will so Jamie has Aaron Rodgers on her team. I think Aaron Rodgers will underperform this week, not because he's bad, but just because he won't have to put up 30 points in fantasy. He's playing the Cardinals. If they can pound the rock, Rodgers maybe throws 1 touchdown. He doesn't need to do crazy things. So I think Rodgers will underperform just based on their opponent. I like Gronk, who's in Jamie's lineup. I like Kenny Galladay. And she currently has Cortland Sutton on her bench. I'm a big fan of Cortland Sutton. Jamie has a pretty solid team, but if I were Jamie, I would definitely try and find a way to get Cortland Sutton in that lineup. I think it's going to be a relatively close game, but I think Jamie's going to win that game and Brad loses. Moving on to Hammer and Nikita. Hammer's got Saquon. He's currently projected 22. I personally think that's a little high, just because they're playing a tough opponent. They're playing a tough opponent this week. I forget exactly who they're playing off the top of my head, but I think they're going to have to be passing the ball. Marlon Mack and Lamar Miller, I both think their projections are high as well, just because Marlon Mack, Indianapolis, is playing the Jacksonville, so I think that'll have to be more of an air attack. And then Lamar Miller's projected 15. They're playing Cleveland. I think that'll be more of a shootout type passing game as well. Although Hammer does have Jared Goff and Gus Edwards on the bench, so the projection could change. But currently it's Hammer 121 to Nikita's 123, so it's looking real close. Obviously, he's going to put Goff in. I would be shocked if Hammer didn't put Jared Goff in. But then moving on to Nikita, she has both Antonio Brown and Devonta Adams, so 2 of the top 5 receivers in the league for sure. She doesn't have, to me, in my opinion, she doesn't have a team that's too exciting other than that. She has pretty steady players, but no one that flashy. So again, I think this is going to be close, but I mean, Hammer put up 187 last week, so I have Hammer beating Nikita. So overall, in kind of my world, my prediction, I have the playoff seedings as follows. I have Josh as the 1 seed, Willie as the 2 seed, T's the 3 seed, Derek is the 4th seed, Hammer with the win over Nikita takes the 5th seed, and then Nate. I didn't mention Nate and Garrett's matchup, but I actually have Nate beating Garrett by 24 points or whatever the margin is between him and Nikita. So I have Nikita losing, Nate winning, and then I have Nate coming down with more points for. So I actually have Nate in the 6th playoff spot, or in the 6th playoff spot currently. So that's just my rough prediction. Obviously, I could be 100% wrong. If Nikita puts up plenty of points, she could still get that 6th spot, even if she loses. It'll come down to points for there. But I have Bradley and Nikita losing, so. And Nate winning, so with that perfect storm, I have Nate pulling off the playoff spot there because he's playing Garrett. That's almost a shoe-in win. That's what I got.
Well, I've got me in the playoffs.
Shocking.
1st seed. Then I have Willie. Then I have Derek. Then I have T. I have Nikita and Brad winning both of their matchups, though.
Okay.
And so that's where it comes into Nikita and Brad seeded as 5 and 6.
So you have both Hammer and Nate. You have Hammer slipping out of the playoffs and then Nate obviously not getting it done, or
Correct.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter if Nikita and Brad won.
Right.
So yeah.
That's interesting. That's exciting. Any other thoughts on this league, Josh? Obviously, we're coming up on the playoffs here. You're a shoo-in. Willie's a shoo-in. T and Derek are all shoo-ins. It comes down to those final 2 spots, I guess. What are your thoughts on? Other general thoughts on the Hidden Oaks Redraft League?
I'll see someone week 16.
Oh, will ya? That's a bold statement. You're getting the bye, so you'll at least make it to week 15 for sure.
Well, I'm potentially getting the bye.
I mean, yeah, I guess technically you could not get it. Your worst finish could be the 4th seed, but so yeah. If you have no other thoughts, we can move on to the Hidden Oaks Dynasty League.
You mean we're not done yet?
No, that was
right.
just one league, and we're at the hour point.
All right, Hidden Oaks Dynasty. Gar beat Derek 125.65 to Derek's 121.25.
Suck it, Derek.
A lot of stinky tinkies.
Yeah, there were a bunch. I can't remember exactly what Derek's lineup looked like, but I remember looking at it and going, I'm not going to write down all these damn stinker tinkers. So Derek could have won with a bunch of different combinations, but he didn't. I think he had Danny Amendola in a starting lineup, which obviously got him 0 points. So, and there was only a 4-point margin. Josh beats Jesse. I've taken Hammer's name off because I don't want to disgrace him anymore this year. So Josh beats Jesse 153.35 to Jesse's 110.7. No stinker tinkers there, obviously, because it was a 43-point difference.
Kevin barely lost to Connor, 103.6 to Connor's 187.75.
Barely.
So an 84-point difference there. Better luck next year, Kev.
Yeah, hopefully.
Please come back.
I really hope that number 1 pick will be someone good for him. I don't pay attention to college at all, so I have no idea who it would be, but hopefully it's a stud running back or a stud receiver.
Tebow.
Yeah. Willie loses to Swanee, 131.9 to 146.3. So that win was enough to put Swanee on top of, or to keep Swanee on top of the league alone.
Nate beat T 158.95 to T's 150.4. If T would have started Dalvin over Funchess, he would have gotten plus 16.6 and the victory.
What are you doing?
Try not to throw up.
From what? What are you throwing up from?
Just have so much knowledge it's pouring out of my mouth.
Is that the case? All right.
Standings: Jalen alone at top, 9-3. Connor and Nate nipping at his heels at 8-4. Josh, that's me, 7-5. Derek 7-5. Willie 7-5. Gars 5-7. T 4-8. Jesse 3-9, and Kevin 2-10.
Kevin has officially locked the number 1 pick next year in case it matters.
Yep. Really no big matchups. I mean, playoffs have been set for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, the playoff teams have been set. Obviously, the seeding could switch around a bunch with 3 teams. Obviously, Jalen's got 9-3, but Connor or Nate could win this week, and they could take over a bye. Jalen could slip out. So there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, so if Jesse beats Connor and I win, I'm going to get the 2 seed.
You think so, huh?
Nope, because Nate's probably going to beat his matchup too.
Yeah, well, I mean, so the matchups roughly, Connor plays, is that the top one? Yeah,
yep.
Connor plays Jesse. I'm chalking that up as a free win for Connor, just because Jesse's 3-9, Connor's 8-4. So with that, Connor's going to finish 9-4.
Yep. And then Nate plays Jalen, 8-4 versus 9-3. Nate wins. I don't know what the points for look like, but he has a possibility of overtaking him, I guess. No?
Swanee's Nate has the fewest points for of anyone in the playoffs.
Oh, cool. Well, even if he wins, he might be able to take Connor over if Connor somehow loses, but I highly doubt that.
Yeah, I got Swanee winning that playoff game, by the way, or that regular season game, by the way. Derek plays T. Yeah, Derek's 7-5, T's 4-8. Again, there's no playoff implications, just seeding. But I actually have T winning this game. No one's really been paying attention, but Derek has been on the slide in Dynasty the last couple weeks. So.
Interesting.
He also, I believe, no, never mind. That's a different team. Haha.
Josh versus Willie, 7-5 versus 7-5. Really just seeding implications here. I have the most points for, so I'm hoping if I win big, and I win big.
You have the most points for, you mean between you and Willie?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, because in the league, it's definitely Connor, but...
Yeah, I think it's Connor and then me.
It definitely could be. I know it's Connor by a lot, though. So here's my prediction. Here's my predicted seeding. Just because Swanee, never mind. That's not an easy matchup. But Swanee is playing Nate. I've got Jalen winning that one. So Jalen is the 1 seed. Connor gets his free win over Jesse. So Connor is the 2 seed. Josh, I've got you in the 3 seed, beating Willie. Nate's in the 4th seed, even though we lost to Swanee just by default. And then Derek and Willie, I have them both losing this week, but they're super close in points for. I think I just left it as it is now. So Derek takes 5 and Willie takes 6, but that could easily be flopped. So Josh, you're going to be playing one of the Schultz brothers come next week based on my predictions.
Bring it on.
Yeah, so obviously those seedings could change dramatically because we are by no means experts, but yeah. Those are my predicted standings, and I know you didn't even take notes on this league, so you've probably got nothing. But
nope, I've already closed up closed up everything. I'm ready to go. I'm hungry.
I mean, you can leave if you want, but I'm going to talk about the BSB league out of the kindness of my heart.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I thought we'd already won that league.
No, we did not. We're in first place by 30 points now.
Wow.
But, yeah, so we'll move on, talk about the BSB league here for a moment. I don't know if Josh is going to stay or not. I'm sure he is hungry, though.
Oh, I'm starving. The dogs are probably hungry, too. I'm going to go feed them. But, yeah, we won our matchup. Suck it, Alex Smith, first round. Lamar Miller for life.
Lamar Miller for life. And thanks, Rivers, for filling in for a bye week. Patrick Mahomes. So like Josh mentioned, we won our matchup 121.36 to Alex Smith first round's 104.32. Check My Balls, our lovely commissioner, beat a Rec Dicker by 0.52. So a very close matchup there, just half a point difference. Sorry, Rec Dicker. And yeah, congrats, Commish. Jonas Burton's loses to Cockknockers 91.48 to Cockknockers 159.5. That 159.5 is good for the highest score of the week. Dalton Abbey loses to the Emotional Bears fan 98.22 to 115.24. Nothing too crazy there. Didn't take a lot of notes on this one just because I wanted to focus on kind of the playoff implications, which I'll get into in a moment. But so Emotional Bears fan wins. TD My Pants scores only 91 points this week. He is the other 11-1 team in our league, but he scored less than 100 points this week. That's pretty uncharacteristic of him. But he was able to hold off a 0 Gurley 0 Cup, 91.2 to 83.74. And yeah, nothing crazy there. And then Futbuckers with a really good week. He beat the Victoria's Secret 143.52 to 90.4. So that would be, never mind, that would not be the biggest blow of the week because Joe Knows only scored 91. But yeah, so those are all the winners this week. Standings, obviously, your lovely, handsome podcast hosts are 11-1. And yeah, we dominate this league for no good reason, but we just did. We got lucky. TD My Pants is 11-1 as well. Check My Balls is in third at 9-3. Emotional Bears Fan is 8-4, and those 4 teams have locked a playoff spot. So Hidden Oaks, TD My Pants, Check My Balls, and Emotional Bears Fan are all locks for the playoffs in this league. And Hidden Oaks and TD My Pants are both locks for the first round bye. So us and TD My Pants could switch seeds based on how this week turns out, but otherwise we are locks for a bye. In the playoff bubble, or on the playoff bubble, is Dalton Abbey at 7-5, Alex Smith's first round at 6-6, and Futbuckers at 6-6. So all those teams are vying for a spot, and Dalton Abbey definitely has the fewest points for out of those 3. So a loss and a couple wins, and Dalton Abbey could easily slide out, even though they're currently in the 5th spot. And then to round out the league, we got Jonos at 8, Cocknock at 9, Erect Dicker at 10, Victoria's Secret at 11, and Zero Gurley 0 Cup at 1-11 at the bottom of the league where they belong. So I took some paper notes just based on the different playoff implications. So the important matchups this week for the last playoff spots are Dalton Abbey versus Rec Dicker. Currently, Dalton Abbey is projected to win 114 to 97. But as I mentioned before, Dalton Abbey only has 1,253 points for, which is the fewest. The other 2 have more than 100 points for them. The other 2, they're looking for the playoff spot. So Alex Smith first round and Futbuckers, if they both win, Dalton Abbey will be out, even if he, well, that's not true. Dalton Abbey, if he wins, he's in. So that's nice. But yeah, he has the fewest points for. He has Aaron Rodgers on his team and Devontae Adams. Again, I think they'll underperform this week just because they don't need to do great things. He also has Cortland Sutton on his bench. So another person I really think who should work Cortland Sutton into their starting lineup. And then Erect Dicker has Jack Doyle in their starting playoff spot. And he's on the IR now. So their only other tight end is Charles Clay. I think this matchup will be closer than the projection looks, just based on, I think some underperforming teams on Dalton Abbey's team. But I think Dalton Abbey will end up winning this game. And so, like I said, if he wins, he's in. So I think Dalton Abbey will keep his playoff spot. Another important matchup is Alex Smith first round versus Emotional Bears Fan. Alex Smith first round.
It's just Bears Fan.
No, it's Emotional Bears Fan. Alex Smith first round is currently projected to lose by 22, or a difference of 22. But he has, and that's because he has Fournette on his team. That doesn't help in his starting lineup currently. But he has Goff and Robert Woods on his bench, so that'll definitely boost his projection. And yeah, Josh has left his dogs upstairs unattended, which was foolish. I think Andrew Luck will underperform this week. That's on an Emotional Bears Fans team. And I think Saquon Barkley will also underperform this week. So I think it'll be another close matchup. But as long as Alex Smith first round puts in Jared Goff and Robert Woods, I think he'll take the cake. And that'll put Alex Smith first round at 7-6. Futbuckers against our lovely commish Check My Balls. That's the final matchup of the week. I think Futbuckers will win this one. I think it's going to be pretty close, but I like Kamara on his team. I really like Baker Mayfield. I like Juju Smith-Schuster, and I like Tyler Lockett, so I have a lot of people that I personally like on the Futbuckers team. I dislike Tevin Coleman, and I think he needs to start TJ Yeldon over Adrian Peterson, AD all day. For Check My Balls on his team, I didn't even write the projections for this game, but I dislike Cousins, I dislike Carrion, I dislike Dalvin, and I dislike James Conner. So there's a lot of dislikes I have on Check My Balls team and a lot of likes I have on Futbuckers team. So all the 3 people on the bubble, Dalton Abbey, Alex Smith first round, and Fuckbuckers, I have them all winning this week. Obviously that could change, but so the 3 people I have on the bubble are winning in my mind. So Dalton Abbey, if they win, they're in. So they'll be an 8-5 record. They're guaranteed a playoff spot. So then it comes down to Alex Smith first round and Fuckbuckers. I currently have them both winning, like I said. If one of them wins and the other loses, obviously that'll be the deciding factor in the final playoff spot. But assuming I'm right and both Alex Smith first round and Fuckbuckers both win, then obviously it'll come down to the tiebreaker of points for. Currently, Alex Smith first round has 1,366 points for, and Fuckbuckers has 1,342. So that is a difference of 24. So Fuckbuckers, assuming I'm right and everybody wins, you need to outscore Alex Smith first round by 24 points. I don't know if that's possible. I did not write down the projections like I said, but in theory, obviously it's possible. If Dalton Abbey loses and you guys both win, then you'll automatically slide in. If Alex Smith first round wins and Dalton Abbey loses and you win, never mind, that's what I just said. So yeah, if you win and Alex Smith first round loses, then you're in because you'll be 7-6 and he's 6-7. So a lot of different possibilities here, a lot of potential. But like I mentioned above, I have all 3 teams winning, and then so here's what I have for our projected playoff seeding. So I think Hidden Oaks, that's us, will hold on to our top spot. We'll go 12-1, and we'll keep the points for. Josh just screamed from upstairs, but there's no way the mic picked that up. I think TD by Pants is automatically the 2nd seed, but I also have him winning his game this week. He'll remain 12, or he'll go up to 12-1. Check My Balls will drop to 9-4. He's currently 9-3, but I have him losing this week to Fuckbucker, but he'll still be the 3rd seed. I have Emotional Bears fan at 8-5. He's losing this week to Alex Smith first round, but he's still in the playoffs already, so he drops to 8-5. I had Dalton Abbey winning, so that goes 8-5. And then I gave the edge to Alex Smith first round to take that last playoff spot. So again, I have Alex Smith and Fuckbuckers winning in my mind, but Alex Smith first round will end up having most points for. So those are my 6 playoff teams. So in that scenario, it would be TD My Pants versus Alex Smith first round, it would be Check My Balls versus Alex Smith first round in the first playoff match, and then Check My Balls God damn it, I keep misspeaking. And then Bears fan versus Dalton Abbey. So that's what I got, BSB. And yeah, I've probably already talked too long. I don't normally fly solo this long, but yeah, I did it this week because I care. Because it's playoffs eve, and I know we have we have Eric's listening. And yeah, you deserve the content for being a loyal fan. So that's all I got. I'm gonna move into the outro now. Thanks everybody for listening. You can always find us on Facebook, Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix, or facebook.com/hoodpod. You can always find us, or you can always email us. That's hiddenoaksoverdose@gmail.com. And yeah, we love fan interaction. This week we had a couple different comments. We had Eric and Eric's contributes. That's always nice. And Nikita. So thanks for that. I'll throw a thank you to our, as I count it, we have 5 listeners, 4 main ones, and then a rogue 5th sometimes. So Nikita, thank you for listening. Ryan Walters, love you. Eric's Kestris, thank you for listening. Eric Landvik, you're a stud. I want your D. What? And then Jamie, she doesn't listen every week. She's not a loyal listener in that sense, but she seems to binge them. So she'll go through a couple weeks without listening, and then she'll listen to like 3 or 4 episodes in a week. So Jamie, if you happen to ever listen to this one, yeah, thank you for listening as well. And yeah, love you guys. You're the best. And I need to pull up the outro song, but I don't have it up yet. So let me just vamp here for another second. This is embarrassing. Oh, where is it? There it is. And play, please. I want to be done talking. There we go. Whew. Josh, your dog's absolutely slaughtered me in dog hair today. Oofda. Good luck, everyone, in their playoff hunt. I know I need some help. If you're still listening to this point, you're amazing. I put this content in here just for you. Realistically, I'm gonna lose like $200 to $300 on fantasy this year, so yeah. We are now accepting donations. Just mail them to Garlic Johnson at North Pole. Love you guys.